Thank you, Karen. And I'd like to say how much of an honor it is to be here today at the Freedom Rally on such an emotional weekend. You know, there are certain devastating events in America's past which have had such significance that they've actually defined our destiny as a nation. Our place in history, our ascension to being the greatest nation on the face of the earth, was determined not so much by the actions, but by America's reactions to them. And September 11th, 2001 was such a day. And just like each event prior to that, on September 11th, 2001, America faced another crossroads. We had another choice to make. How would America respond? Well, the rest of the world, they already made their choice. All over the airwaves were images of jubilation in nations such as Iran, Iraq, and Syria. Osama bin Laden released a video praising those who sacrificed their life. And Palestinians were seen dancing in the streets. The rest of the world waited. How would America respond? And to the surprise of our enemies, but to the expectation of our people, America responded just as she always does in times of trouble. America, which takes pride and gains strength from her diversity. We put aside our differences. We united as one people. And we shouted to the world, we will not live in fear. We will not be intimidated. We will not give up our right to live free because we are America. We are America. And being an American is such a special thing. You know, not just because of the rights and liberties protected by our Constitution, but because of the character of the people whom those rights are given. As Americans, we are as rich in strength as we are in generosity. The first to give charity, but the last to ever want to accept it. No, as Americans, we are a proud people. We don't want handouts. We don't want to be dependent on others. As Americans, we want the right to be able to create our own dreams, work hard to achieve them, and relish in the pride of our own accomplishments. We are a people who believe that charity should be situational, not generational, and that charity should not become a way of life. We are a nation of single moms who could just as easily become a statistic on the nation, but they choose to work 2 and 3 jobs just to provide for their families. We're a nation of parents who sacrifice our current wants for the future needs of our children. But while we're sacrificing, while we're working hard to provide for our children's future, we have a government who is sacrificing our children's future for their own political legacy. Now, we have in Washington, we have politicians who are trying to turn our nation from one in which John F. Kennedy had us asking, what can we do for our nation? They're trying to turn us into a nation of dependent people with our hands out, saying, what can our nation do for us? This is not America. Enough is enough. But just as Rosanna mentioned earlier, it's not just our local leaders. It's our state and it's not just our federal leaders, but it's our state and local leaders as well. Just take Bloomington, for instance. In 4 short years, our Bloomington City Council overspent our budgets by $19 million, depleting a $14 million surplus and getting us $5 million in debt. And of course, now we're in debt to have to dig deeper and deeper in our pockets to make up for it. More taxes, more fee increases, more of our hard-earned money to pay for their spending. But what are they spending it on? I'll give you one example, a perfectly good example. Just earlier this year, our city council, despite of being $5 million in debt, despite of having to just lay off 75 employees because they couldn't afford them, despite having our depleting road systems, they spent $600,000, which is over 10% of our debt, to extend the 24-mile Constitution Rail an extra 3/4 miles. And they try to justify it. You can boo louder if y'all want, that's fine. And they try to justify it. Thank you. They try to justify it, and they say, well, it's okay to spend $600,000 because if we did that, the state government was giving us $1 million of free grant money to the project. So you're getting a $1.6 million trail for $600,000. What a bargain! Once again, our Bloomington City Council had their hand out saying, what can our state do for us? Thank you. Now, what these city councilmen forgot to realize was two important things. This grant money, this free grant money, it's not free. Someone has to pay for it. Taxpayers up in Lexington, Chenoa, Normal, they pay for our trail. And the second thing they forgot is the city council still had to spend $600,000 of Bloomington tax money. And while they're spending this money, the next thing on their agenda is to raise our property taxes by over 5% because they say the city's broke. So, it's incredible. Now, is a trail a good thing? I mean, absolutely. The trail makes this city what it is, helps make it what it is. But the question isn't, is the trail a good thing or not? The question is, should a city that's $5 million in debt, a city that's forecast to lose another $2 million this year, a city that is so broke it has $0 in their road repair fund, so broke they're sending over 75 employees to the unemployment line, so broke that they're going to be raising our property taxes by over 5%. Is that a city that's in financial shape to spend $600,000 of our tax money on a want when we have so many needs?
Absolutely not.
I mean, how many potholes could that have fixed? How many sewer lines could that have repaired? How many of those jobs could that have restored? Now, many of you are here today because you're tired of being silent. You're tired of the government reaching in your pocket, taking more to go spend wastefully. You want to use your hard-earned money on your family. And you're here because you don't know how to make it stop. You don't know what to do. Coming to these rallies is a great first step. It puts you in touch and lets you realize you are not alone. There are others here with the same concerns. Do you know what you can do? Very soon, if you want to take a step and actually see your actions amount to a result, very soon Bloomington City Council will be voting on that 5% property tax increase. Now, if you really want to see what a unified group can do, if you want to stand up and tell the politicians you're tired of them overspending on their wants while we have our needs that continue to deteriorate, I urge you, please contact your city council members and tell them, vote against this tax increase. It's a great start. Tell them that you have a right to use your hard-earned money on your family, not to spend for their wasteful spending. And once it gets on the agenda, it'll be on the agenda in a few weeks, and once it gets on the agenda, pack council chambers. Join me in the council chambers and let your voices be heard there. The politicians are afraid to come to the parks. Bring the message to them. But without your help, without you actually getting off the couch, as I said, and showing up at the council meetings and putting a fear of the vote in our politicians' heads, they'll pass it just like it did the trail extension. I need your help. I'll be there. I'll be fighting for this cause, but I cannot do it alone. You know, one person's voice in opposition will not make a difference, but a size of people this size, a size of people who are fed up and who want to make a difference. If you speak out in one voice, you cannot be ignored. Thank you.